And welcome to a NFL free agency special right here on the Don't Argue with the Facts podcast. I am your host, Noah Love, and today we will be talking about all things NFL free agency. NFL free agency day one has been, was crazy. Day two right now is on the way as well. We have no time to waste. Let's just get into this. I've wrote down most of the big moves by order. There are still other big moves to there are also other big moves to be announced. But yeah, let's get into it. Uh let's start here with the first one. Alec Pierce returning to the Colts, 4 years for $114 million. He took maybe a couple less $1 million to stay with the Indianapolis Colts. And Ballard, he said he'd get it done. And he got it done. He could not let Pierce walk. Because if you were gonna let Pierce walk, you better replace him. And I don't think I have enough trust with Chris Ballard to replace Alec Pierce. Alec Pierce looked back-to-back years. He leads the league in yards per reception. That's very hard. That's a very hard thing to do. I think when you look at this, and obviously there were some teams like the Pats and the Giants that were looking to sign him. Pierce, it really seemed like he never hit the market. It sounded like the deal was done for days. They just couldn't announce it yet. This is a very good move for the Colts. They also made another move, Arden Key, who I assume is a rotational piece. Obviously, they've been clearing up cap. No more Zaire Franklin on the team. They traded Michael Pittman Jr. to the Steelers. The Steelers get a number 2 wide receiver. Alec Pierce returning to the Colts. You know what he brings. He's going to be he is now the de facto number 1 wide receiver. He's going to get more targets. Warren is obviously, and Josh Downs is. Now, who will be the quarterback? You assume it would be Daniel Jones, right? Let's just talk about it now. Daniel Jones done lost his dang mind. He done lost his mind. This is the one time I don't blame Chris Ballard. I'm not blaming Chris Ballard. I'm not here. I know that sounds like a shock. I'm not blaming Ballard here. He offered him 3 years, $100 million, which is basically the Sam Darnold contract. This man and his agent counteroffered. They want $50 million per year. Yes, $50 million per year. Son. The silence, I just say, because what do you want me to say? He wants $50 million per year. No team stupid enough on the market is giving him $50 million per year. They put the transition tag on him. Cool. Ballard knows a team stupid enough give him $50 million per year. They know this. Even $40 million per year is too high. $30 million per year is a bit pricey. You kidding me? You talking about $50 million? Who does he think he is? Patrick Mahomes? Lamar Jackson? He ain't even Herbert. And you took $50 million per year in this economy? On what planet? On what planet? You had one good season. You're coming off a torn Achilles. Balor cannot, and I repeat, cannot be paying two guys, cannot be paying Jones and Pierce in total 79 million total U.S. currency dollars per year. That just can't happen. That it cannot happen, and it most likely will not happen because they're not paying them $50 million. Nobody else on the market. Vikings ain't paying that. Why would I pay that when I could go get Kyler, who's about at this? Y'all are about at the same level when at y'all best. When I could go get Kyler and pay him $1.3 million, or if I'm the Falcons, they went to go get Tua, and I know Tua risky, but I can get Tua on a cheap 1 year deal. I hope I'm not hard enough. I hope this isn't hard to understand. I hope that that's not confusing because 50 mil. What? He ain't robbing. He ain't robbing us blind. He is not robbing us blind. Okay. So now that that's out the way, let's go to the Kansas City. Let's go to the Kansas City side. Okay, Kansas City side of this. Travis Kelce is returning. We know that. Travis Kelce is returning to the Chiefs. He's going to be back next year. Probably if Mahomes starts week one, that'll be a big part of it. He obviously doesn't want to go out like he did last year. It's not the biggest news, though. The biggest news is the Kansas City Chiefs have signed Kenneth Walker, Super Bowl MVP Kenneth Walker, to a 3-year, $45 million deal. That is 28.7 mil is fully guaranteed. Massive. It takes a piece away from Seattle in terms of the Super Bowl hunt. It takes a piece away from Seattle. What it also does is gives the Chiefs a really good running back. And look, Mahomes coming off the ACL, you don't want him dropping back 50 times a game. Everyone, you want to have a semblance of a run game. Now it's up to Andy Reid to run the dang ball. That's what it's up to him to do, is to run the ball. It's very simple. But getting Kenneth Walker now in this deal, I really I really like this for Kansas City. Look, they knew they needed to get a better run game. They knew they needed to get a back. As much as I like Pacheco, Kenneth Kenneth Walker Kenneth Walker, getting him, that's big. That is a massive move for for him. Now Seattle, I don't know what the heck Seattle's doing because they also lost Boye Mafe to Cincinnati as well. So I don't really know what what. So I don't really know what they're doing. So I don't really know Seattle with Schneider. I don't know what their cap situation's like, but obviously, like they re-signed Shaheed, but then they're like, I don't know what Rulin's situation is because he's still out there, but very interesting. what's going on in Seattle, and also that's a big move for the Chiefs. Some other moves: Minka Fitzpatrick to the Jets, Demario Davis to the Jets. They're trying to shore up the defense. Trying to shore they're trying to shore up the defense for next year. That's not my issue. My issue is who's going to be your quarterback. Are you taking Ty Simpson? Because Dante Moore is. You're not taking Ty Simpson at 2, obviously, but I'm just saying that because they have a pick at, I believe it's 15 or 16 in the middle somewhere. So what are you doing there is a question for the Jets. And the reason I say that is because Malik Willis is now a Miami Dolphin. Malik Willis has signed with the Miami Dolphins, which is very interesting. The deal here is 3 years, 67.5 million, was a 45 million fully guaranteed contract negotiated. Okay. Okay. This is, to me, the three teams were the Dolphins, the Jets, and the Cardinals that were going to try to sign him. Miami let go of Tua and they ate 99 million dead cap, which is the largest in NFL history. How do they have money to sign it? Jet, Cardinal. Now Jets, maybe they didn't go after him maybe as hard as they should have. Jets, Cardinals. How do you get outbid by a team that doesn't have any money? Supposedly doesn't have any money because they just took 100 million dead cap. That doesn't. Something's not adding up there, Arizona. How that's that? How again? How do you get outbid by a organization that supposedly has no money? I would love that's to me. That's a great question that I think a lot that I would like to know the answer to. But I'm looking at obviously this from the Dolphins' point of view. Look, you get a new, fresh started quarterback. Halfley's coming in. Obviously, Willis knows Halfley. The system, you're going to get a quarterback. Obviously, Malik Willis can move on the run, and you add him to to a team that offensively they have some weapons, HN and Waddle. So it's not completely like awful there. The offensive line isn't bad. Now, it won't be obviously the Mike McDaniel offense because he's fired, but in the Mike McDaniel offense, that'll be for Chargers, which, by the way, the Chargers didn't do anything to start free agency. I like this for Miami. I do. You kind of figured, okay, he get some money, he get a payday because of the way he played as a backup for the Packers. Matt LaFleur, all that. I just thought 100 million. When you eat 100 million in dead cap, you would think, okay, they don't have money, and you would think somebody else would outbid them. I guess not. So look, that's a big trade. That is a big signing that I think shakes up what the Jets want to do for this upcoming season, especially what Arizona wants to do for this upcoming season. I have no idea where that Arizona goes. I have no idea there. I don't know. Uh, we also have some other news. Jalen Phillips to the Panthers. That is a big sign. I absolutely love, and Devin Lloyd to the Panthers. We'll talk about both of those signings. I love what the Carolina Panthers are doing. They said defensively, that was our flaw. We were not good enough. So, you know what? We're going to go out. We're going to sign Jalen Phillips, who is an edge rusher who gets after it. Some prize Philly didn't keep him. And we're going to sign Devin Lloyd because he creates turnovers and he is a playmaker. You just got two playmakers on that defensive side of the ball to now go with Derek Brown and J.C. Horn. Like, that's what I'm saying. So look, I love what the Panthers are doing right now. They say we were 8-9. We won the NFC South. They obviously knew that wasn't good enough. Took the Rams around. We're not going to just let people develop. We are not just going to stand packed. We are going to go and be aggressive. And they did it on the defensive side of the ball. I love what they did. Truthfully, I love what they did. That the Carolina, to me, I said it, this off season will be bigger than the last because you actually had some success. So, with the success that you had, whether you can talk about the end of the season, it obviously didn't go as well as you planned, whatever. Bryce played well, you lose the close game to the Rams. Look, Falcons need help to get you in. It's whatever. You knew we have to build off that. I thought you had a very good all season last season. This season, if you can have a similar all season to that, this season they're swinging for the fences. I mean, you don't swing for the fences if you do not believe. Now, do I believe they'll be a Super Bowl contender? No. Still, I still think certain guys still have growing to do. But can they win a playoff game potentially if guys develop, have a good draft, continue on this role in free agency? I do. Because again, offensively, obviously, there's some holes on the offensive line, and you need another reliable, maybe number 2, number 3 receiver, unless you feel like Jalen Coker is going to step into that number 2 role, which I wouldn't blame you for thinking that. But defensively, they better than the year prior? Yes. Were they still at on defense? Yes. Yes. So the issue was they did not have enough playmakers consistently last season. I know Mike Jackson, they got him for Sal. He comes on. Obviously, you just did not have enough consistent playmakers. You just got two consistent playmakers in Phillips and Lloyd. Love what Carolina did right there. Love it. Some more moves. Isaiah Likely to the Giants. Jordan Stout gets record-breaking punter deal. You have to not. I don't know how you don't love that for the Giants. The Giants, to me, have also they get Greg Newsome as well, which is massive. The Giants are having a heck of a off season. I think you also have to take into account they have the 7th pick too, and then you've got young players like Scatterboo will be back starting next season. Neighbors will most likely be close. He may miss a game or two, but it's around that week 3, week 4 timeline for the ACL. I'm looking at that team. They've got a lot of talent on it. And now you've got a very good coach in Harbaugh. I the Giants are having a great off season. Now, obviously, it has to translate to wins on the field. The one thing Harbaugh's got to do is win. You got the franchise quarterback. Now, with Dart, you got to go win. But in terms of these signings, I like them. Obviously, good for Stout, record-breaking punter deal, one of the best putters in the game. But we talked about so many times their issues in the secondary. Look, you go out in that corner, get Greg Newsome. Greg Newsome is better than any corner you have on your roster. He's immediately going to go in and play right away. Plug him into the system, and they're going to go. It'll be interesting to see what they do at linebacker, because you know Harbaugh loves some linebackers. Again, could they take Sonny Styles at 7? I think it's very possible, but very much like the off season that they are having right now. Also, Dart gets a security blanket, a young security blanket with Likely. Very good deal. Now let's go to Tampa. They signed Gainwell. They signed Alex Anzalone. Those are two decent signings. Anzalone, obviously, because your linebacker room isn't getting any younger. Gainwell, I guess it's going to be him and Rashad White. I guess Bucky Irving may be the odd man out at this point, you would guess. But that's not the big news coming out of Tampa Bay. Mike Evans is gone. Mike Evans is on his way to San Francisco. Mike Evans is now a Niner. He signs a 3-year deal to go play for the San Francisco 49ers. I thought for sure that Mike Evans was going to be a Tampa Bay Buccaneer forever. It's a 3-year worth that's worth $42.4 million with $16.3 million guaranteed. For the Niners, from the Niners side of this, I'm looking at that offense next year. Oof. Purdy, McCaffrey, Jennings, Evans, Kittle, Pearsall. Very good offense. I know Kyle Shanahan. He's gonna Mike Evans. Look, Kyle Shanahan. He can get anybody open in his offense. Like, he can scheme anybody open. You do not need to scheme Mike Evans open, because he'll go get open himself. And he is one of the best one-on-one, top of the screen, at the top of your screen, isolation receivers we've maybe ever seen. He's still one of the best in the league at that. So, yeah, when it comes down when it comes down to it, I really think Tampa, maybe Mike Evans was just like, it's time for a new challenge. Nothing against Tampa. Love my time in Tampa. It sounded like the Bucks made a strong offer, but they just couldn't keep him. And now he's going to San Francisco, where I guess he feels like he can win another Super Bowl there, and maybe he can in Tampa, which again is understandable because I look at the roster in San Francisco and the coaching, and I'm saying, okay, I think as long as you don't get hurt, you could make the case that okay, maybe they could get to another Super Bowl and win it this time. I'm looking at Tampa. The your window's kind of closed here. The Panthers are getting better. The Falcons have obviously gotten better. The Saints are Shook's gonna get better. And then I'm just looking at the entirety of the NFC. It's getting better. Like I'm looking at the Bears. I'm looking at the Packers. I'm looking at Detroit. Obviously Philly's there. Seattle. So I and your roster's very getting very older, so I think he felt like their window was closed, Mike Evans. I think that's probably what he felt, and he said, "You know what? I am going to go and try to get another ring." And you know what? I respect him for that. Mike Evans is going to be really big time in that San Francisco offense. And Purdy, the Purdy to Evans connection will be very, very interesting and intriguing. Another move, Tyler Lindenbaum to the Raiders. I've liked that move, getting protection from Mendoza. Obviously, one of their big things last season was that offensive line was hideous. It was awful. It it was awful. So what you needed to go do is obviously you need an anchor. The center's usually the anchor of the offensive line. You get Linderbaum. I really like the Raiders all season. They also signed Quiddy Pay, too much money, four snack, 32 million guaranteed for four sacks and 721 snaps. Yeah, I don't know what they were doing there, but for the most part, the Raiders are having a very good offseason. let's let's kind of round this out here with Tua to the Falcons. Tua Tagovailoa is now an Atlanta Falcon. He goes there on a 1 year deal. The lefty room. I'm guessing they're gonna have a quarterback competition. Who wins the job, Tua or Penix? It'll be very interesting to see because Tua, you're gonna have a good offensive line. You've got Bijan Robinson back there now. You're 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 going obviously Stefanski. His system is gonna be new. You have Kyle Pitts, you have Drake London, you have Darnell Mooney, you have pieces on that offense to where you can throw the ball to. So it's a new start. It's going to be very interesting. I think Tua's obviously going to win the job. I don't think they're just going to give it to him unless Penix isn't ready to go to start the season. But if he somehow is, I don't think they're just going to give it to him, in my opinion. So, interesting move there by Atlanta. We'll finally round this out with two more big signings: Elijah Vera Tucker to the Pacts, and obviously the Boye Mafe signing to the Bengals. Elijah Vera Tucker to the Patriots is so huge for this reason. The guard, he's a guard. He moves people on the interior. The biggest issue with the Patriots last year or last postseason really was their offensive line. That was the issue. Elijah Vera Tucker is one of the. I know last year he got hurt, but when he's healthy, he's one of the better guards, if not one of the best guards, offensive guards in all of football. You look at that for New England, you say, okay, obviously Will Campbell's got to get better, but they're addressing their needs. When you go to the Super Bowl, you already know, look, we are good enough to do this, but you saw in that game up front was the difference. They got their tails whipped. And so Robert Kraft knew, look, we got to spend money on the offensive line. We got to get help on the offensive line, and that's what he's doing right now. And now, Mike, to round this all off, Mike Brown spent money. Hallelujah. That's probably what the Bengals fans are saying. He spent money to go to get Boye Mafe an edge rusher. Again, now you have a pulse of a you didn't have a pulse of an edge rush. Now you have a pulse of an edge rush. Now look, should the Bengals be done by any means? No. That defense still has a lot of work to do. But it's a step in the right direction. And I've said this multiple times for Al Golden, you gotta give him some talent to work with. You can't just throw random dudes and expect him to. That's not what's gonna happen. You have to give him some talent out there. And look, not getting Trey Henderson's gone, but you get Boye Mafe to replace him. That's not a bad replacement. So I really like what the Bengals did there, and I think he's going to be able to fit into his system Al Golden's system very, very well. All right, everybody. This has been an episode of the Don't Argue with the Facts podcast. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And until the next time, we will see ya.